telling us.
Oh, there's Ryan. Okay.
Hey, Ryan, you can
Hey,
hear
good
us
evening,
with us.
everybody.
Oh, yep, Ryan can hear us. Carl, you there?
Almost.
Yeah, I'm just getting set up, so I didn't think you need to see my bunny slippers.
No, no.
Oh, come on.
No.
Don't get me going. I got bunny slippers too. So.
Well, I learned from the guy from whatever happened to that guy on a Zoom call where he stood up and he had pants on. So
Oh, the
right.
commercial, yeah. It's a good one.
Thanks for clarifying. It's a commercial in the recording of the night.
Oh.
Sanderson's coming
A
in.
bit I can do to help.
We need all the help we can get.
Well, that's why we have you, Gail.
That's right. There you go. Keep you in order.
I just had a question about these motions. And
Can we wait to the meeting if it's something on the meeting?
it's just a question about, do we go with the draft or the newest
No.
thing we just got?
10A,
The newest thing?
10A, B, and C will be the newest.
The newest thing. Okay. Okay.
And Rick's here.
can you hear me okay?
Yep, we hear you all right.
I had to put my headphones on so my wife doesn't get bored.
Okay. Thumbs up from you, Rick, if you hear me fine. All right. Here will come Michelle Morgan.
Okay.
All right, now let me I try to get the shared screen for one quick second here. All right, so let me got that. Got Randy Skippers coming in. Tim, when we get down to public officials, Mr. Gisler is in the attendance, so. Got everyone, so I'll share the screen. Alex, a thumbs up if the flag popped up. Thank you. But Tim, if you're starting,
Yes, thank you very much. It's a good evening, everybody. Let's call to order tonight's Village Council regular session meeting for February 1st, 2021. Thank you all for joining. We'll take this time to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the
the
flag
Flag
of the
of the
United States
States of America,
and to the republic for
Republic
which
for which it
it stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and
liberty
and
justice
justice for all.
Thank you all. We'll take a moment, gather our thoughts, and when Mr. Mallory, you're ready, if you would take roll call, please.
okay, roll call for tonight's meeting. And once again, I believe all of you are in the village of Vicksburg. But if not, you can let us know at that point. But roll call will be Trustee Olson,
Yes, here.
Trustee Keller,
Here.
Trustee Merrill,
Here.
Trustee Reister,
Here,
Trustee Wagner,
here.
Trustee Holmes,
Here.
President Frisbee.
Here. So we have a quorum. We have an agenda in front of us tonight. Do we, everyone had a chance to look at it? Is there any changes that we need to make?
President Frisbee, Trustee Keller, I would like to make a motion to combine together the time a citizen can speak on agenda and non-agenda items. I believe that this is a better use of the time that we have scheduled for our council meetings, as well as making it easier for our citizens who would like to comment on non-agenda items, village items. They will not have to wait, which sometimes has been hours, to speak on non-agenda items. I would also like to state that the time for the citizen to speak will be increased from 3 minutes to 4 minutes. I motion that the time be placed into one agenda item at the start of the meeting under agenda item number 8. Within this motion, I also propose to list the specific 2 pavilion rental and 2 disc golf rental applications under consideration in the consent agenda.
Well, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Trustee Reister. I support Trustee Keller's motion to combine the citizens' time to speak on non-agenda village items at the start of the meeting under agenda item number 8, as well as the specific rental applications under the general consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Mallory, could you do roll call, please?
Sure, hearing no further comments, we will do roll call. Trustee Holmes,
Yes.
Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
Trustee Merrill,
Yes.
Trustee Reister,
Yes,
Trustee Olson,
Yes,
President Pro Temp Keller,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes.
Agenda is changed to reflect the motion.
And we shall do that going forward from here on. So with that change, with that addition, that change to item 8, are there any further discussions to the agenda or corrections or additions?
Not from staff, Mr. Frisbee.
Well, hearing none, I take a motion to approve the agenda as modified.
Trustee Holmes, I make a motion to approve the agenda as modified.
Trustee Wagner, I support.
Hearing the motion from trustee Holmes, supported by trustee Wagner. Roll call vote, be trustee Olson,
Yes.
trustee Reister,
Yes.
trustee Merrill,
Yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Holmes,
Yes.
President Pro Temp Keller,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes.
Roll
So
call passes.
we have an agenda in front of us. We have no scheduled appearances, but I understand we have a public official joining us tonight, Mr. John Geisler.
Yes, John, if you go ahead and go ahead, Mr. Gisler.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Gail, for the big nod of your head.
Okay.
Yes, I'm going to only stick with you long enough to say my piece, and then I'm going to get off and leave you folks to your own designs. We have a house guest that's in town this week, and I want to spend as much time with her as I possibly can. It's our daughter, Wendy, from Chicago. But I didn't want to let this opportunity go by without telling you, I'm not bringing you anything from the county level at this time, but I want to tell you what I took to the county. And I'm still smitten with Jim's presentation, the last meeting, where he went through the litany of all the good things that have gone on in Vicksburg for the last 4.5, 5 years. And I gave kind of a summation. I probably didn't do it justice, Jim, but I did refer to it as the State of the Village presentation. And people were, I think, even those that don't know where Vicksburg is, were duly impressed because they know that the village of Vicksburg was headed down the state emergency manager track years ago, and now it's the poster child for how villages should be operated. And I just wanted you to know that that was well received, and I was excited as could be to take it to the county commission. So thank you very much, Jim, and thank all of you on the village board, even the Johnny-come-latelys like Denny. Because if it wasn't for the kind of community that Vicksburg is, it would not be possible. Thank you.
John, you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, John, are we on for the 15th?
The 8th.
Oh, the 8th? Okay, so
Yeah.
next Monday. Okay.
Yeah, I should say something about that. Thank you, Denny. You're a good straight man. The group that I head up, a small informal group called Kalamazoo Citizens for Responsible Government, really falls off your tongue, but it's the KCRG, and we will be having, everybody permitting, a meeting at 8:30 at the Crew on the 8th, which is a week from today. And our speaker is going to be Brian Long, who many of you know. He's an economist from Grand Valley State, and he comes in almost every February and gives us a economic back look at the previous year and a look forward at what the next year is going to look like. So it'll be an update on the current economy, and it'll be a forecast of where he thinks we're headed. Thank you for asking, Danny.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you for those kind words. We're all pretty proud of what's taken place the last few years in this community. So we'll take this time with our newly revised agenda to give any citizen time to speak on an agenda item or a non-agenda item for 4 minutes. So Jim,
And just to let everyone know, those of you that are on a computer can move your cursor in front of the screen and see the yellow raised hand at the bottom of it if you click on it. And if you happen to be on a call-in phone, you can hit *9 to raise your hand. We'll give a minute here to see if any hands raised for any village item that might be on the agenda or not on the agenda. *9 if you're on the phone, and if you're on a computer, just move your cursor on your screen and you'll be able to see that yellow raised hand. Click on that button and we'll count it down here, give it another 15 or so seconds. I do want the council to know that staff ran in excess of, probably 10 to 15 different phone devices on testing webinars out multiple times throughout the past week, and had 100% success rate when the operator selects the correct buttons. So this will be the last 10 or 12 seconds. If you raise your hand, if you're on a phone, hit *9. And if you want to hit the hand raise at the bottom of the screen, if you're on a computer. Once we move forward, the council meeting will move by agenda items. And Mr. Frisbee, I think everyone's been provided over a minute with multiple instructions on how to electronically raise a hand. And as I'm talking again, a *9 or wave, and I see none. So I would
All
move
right,
on with your agenda.
We'll move on with the agenda, and with the revised agenda that Mr. Keller brought to the table, do we want to speak specifically to the rental applications for the village facilities? Or just have the time everybody's approved them, we've all looked at them, and we're good with the agenda consent? All
Yeah,
right.
correct. Those are the 4 applications I sent out this morning when I got back in town. There's 2 rentals of the disc golf with Larry LeBond organizing tournaments out there to get use of the golf course and exposure. And then 2 private parties. I think one is a shower and the other is a graduation party at the pavilion.
I don't know.
President Frisbee, I have a question. Well, first off, a statement. First off, it's refreshing to see an actual baby shower as well as a graduation taking place in June.
Yes.
So it's great to see people optimistic and life is getting back to where we all want to be. Just a quick question regarding the 2 Frisbee tournaments. First off, great idea, love it. Drawing more people, the community is great. I'm just curious, since I'm sorry, the gentleman's last name eludes me, but Larry, I don't see him on the phone.
Larry LeBond.
LeBond, thank you. Mr. LeBond, is there any way that we can connect him with Parks or Chamber or something like that, so we can get people turning right to the village instead of going north?
Yeah, we're Alex Lee and myself are working with him, and we're coming up with ideas, but that's working through staff, and then we'll advise. And once we get closer for volunteers, all the emails and smoke signals will go out to everyone.
Okay, thank you.
They do a good job of communicating that. I've met people, in the village when those tournaments are going on. And I don't know if anybody, on the call's been out there and toured that facility out there. My boys have played disc golf, and I've been out there with them on several occasions. It's just really nice. It's a gorgeous facility. It's well maintained. I think the people that use it respect it and watch out for the area. So, it's just another positive. In the disc golf community, they talk of our place all over this part of the Michigan and northern Indiana. So it's a well-known attribute of this community. So, but I agree with Mr. Holmes. We need to push that and try to get engaged to come into the village.
Yeah, Larry and I have already had that initial conversation, and then we're going to timeline it out as we get closer.
Uh-oh. I just put away my agenda. So with that, we'll move on to item 9, the approval of the general consent agenda from, we'll start first with our regular meeting of 2 weeks ago. Everybody's had a chance to review it, and find any corrections or changes?
One second, Mr. Frisbee, Trustee Merrill just raised her hand. I don't know if she had something to say.
I'm just raising my hand to make a motion to approve the general consent agenda. I'm trying to do this properly.
Yes.
Okay.
Second that. So
So we have a motion in a second. We'll take roll call.
Okay, we had the motion by Trustee Merrill, seconded by Trustee Olson. Here, no further conversation. We'll go ahead and take a roll call vote. Trustee Olson,
yes.
Trustee Reister,
Yes.
Trustee Merrill,
Yes.
Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
Trustee Holmes,
Yes.
President Pro Temp Keller,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. And of course, that did take into account our work session and the warrant reports.
Mhm.
President Frisbee, I apologize. If I could make a comment, I should have made it prior to the vote. But I just wanted to call out the minutes that the council makes. I've looked over the past several meeting minutes. And for those of us who have gone to other municipality meetings, I can't say enough for the effort that staff is taking to ensure there is transparency in these meetings. And also that to the depth of the information that's provided, I would question anybody to go to any other meeting and look at their minutes, and they're not to the detail that these are. And again, I don't mean to strike praise where praise is needed, but I think it needs to be called out here to the level in which staff really is trying to show, what's being discussed, what the people's business is for the record. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
the
you.
thanks goes to our village clerk. So yeah, and well stated. I haven't had a lot of experience in the municipal area, so I just have an experience in the last 6 years, and it's 5 years. And yeah, Jim does a really good job, as does his staff. So we do have some action items in front of us tonight. We have the pole barn building we've talked about. We've put aside money for that already. We've got a lift station maintenance contract and Bobby Durkee's compensation. So with that, I'll let Jim.
Yeah, how we're gonna work this, I felt best was, I asked Alex Lee to give a brief presentation kind of on the history of the building, the condition that has really brought this need to the forefront. And then after Alex is through that bit, we'll turn it over to Randy Skippers. He'll talk about what this new building will allow with equipment and different positives there. And then I will complete with the recommendation and where the financing's coming from. And by financing, this will not incur any debt to the citizens. It's money that's been saved and within the budget. So with that, and again, if council members have questions of staff, more than happy to take those questions when you get them. If you want to, I might be able to type minutes, but operating 3 screens on a single laptop, I'm challenged. So go ahead and speak, and none of the staff will be concerned with the interruption. With that, I'll turn it over to Alex Lee.
Thank you, Jim. The salt building that you are seeing in the picture was constructed in the 1950s. And what that means is it's given us 70 years of service. The building has served us well, but it is in dire need of replacement. The doors are gone or basically useless. The approach to the building wears down and becomes a collection area for water. Salt exposed to water forms clumps. Clumps can easily jam up the salt distribution function of our plow trucks, which in turn takes a truck off the road for clearing at the very time it's needed most. Beyond the practical use issues are the more troubling structural issues, which are raising safety concerns within the building. As a result, equipment is no longer kept in this structure. By extension, all equipment, all that will fit, that is packed into another 1950 60 by 100 building that's located directly behind the salt building. The configuration often requires that lots of equipment be removed from the building to get at the piece of equipment that's needed. The small area that serves as the heated maintenance area for our crew doubles as the storage area for our vital plow and salt trucks.
Even using every square inch available currently leaves some very expensive and critical equipment exposed to the elements. So in summary, the new 60 by 100 building will be much more energy efficient, providing substantial energy cost savings. It will provide additional inside storage and provide the additional needed resources to keep our amazing DPW staff and equipment operating and growing for the next 50+ years. I'd like to pass the floor now to our DPW Director, Randy Skippers, to add some brief thoughts of his own to this discussion.
I don't know how to take it much further than what you just said right there. We were dealing with 1950s and like, you know, our salt barn is shot. The rain leaks in on it. The salt is just clumps up. And we've got probably $50,000 to $75,000 worth of equipment and vehicles sitting outside. There.
If
So-
I may ask, do we feel from a long term in the next 15, 20 years, we have enough room, what we're proposing for the setting and growth?
If we put up another 60 by 100 barn, we would be in excellent shape. Everything would be inside back to the original cold storage barn. Everything would be inside. All of our main trucks that we use daily would be inside and kept well. And the back barn, the existing barn in the back is just costing us a fortune to heat.
Yeah, Tim, and growth, it would give us additional room to add vehicles. I do, for the next 20 years, we've projected 3 pickup trucks. About every 6 years, they'd end up getting scheduled out to purchase. The crane truck, which is a crane tool truck, was out 22 years. So, but it would also add space. I believe the village potentially might add an additional large plow truck. They now make a larger, the actual plow apparatus that, again, it wouldn't probably be a new piece of equipment, but one that we look and keep contacts with other larger municipalities for a hand-me-down. But it would fit that, along with, as you're aware, Mr. Frisbee, we're taking the initial steps to look at equipment needed as we look at the maintenance for our water system and different valves, and we're looking at avenues to partner with neighboring municipalities to share some of that equipment. But we certainly could house it in the building we're proposing. The if
And
and
then
they-
there's one building that is the other building.
That would bring in everything that we currently have outside, inside to a heated element, and it would totally clean our yard up down there.
Yeah, in long term, it's a good thing. The financing, the recommendation is to go with Larry Mallory Pole Buildings. I do want to inform the council in public. Larry Mallory, or he's known as Buck Mallory, I found out today, is not related to me in any fashion. He spells his name different, Mallory. I've actually never met him in person to either one of ours knowledge. We did have a talk about the names. I spell it with an ERY. So not related. One of 4 companies that put in a bid for the process. Those bids were as high as $436,000. Our recommendation is to approve entering into a contract with Larry Mallory Pole Building for an amount not to exceed $355,000. There is, we both believe it will be slightly under that, but in the design of the salt barn, there might be an opportunity through my deals for different purchases for that help. What we're looking at is trying to line that first 4 feet with cement. So when the big scoop goes in to scoop the salt, we're not doing anything to the building and it protects it longer. So that's why we're asking for an amount not to exceed. And with that as well, I think it's important, out of the 2 previous fiscal years, both 18 and 19 and 19 and 20, we set aside $100,000 from each of those years for this project. We also are looking at, because the law will allow us to utilize the water and sewer funds, and we could do it at a higher percentage. Quite often we break down things in each fund at 25%, but looking at the overall structure of the finances, we know utilizing $35,000 from each fund will not have an impact on utility rates. So we felt with a savings plan we put in place along with the fiscal year budget, which originally had $75,000 approved for the project, we'd have to add $10,000 to that. We feel secure to that is in the best interest of the village. So that is how we are proposing this project. It is, like we say, a 50+ year capital investment for the village, and it will not incur any debt. It'll be paid for and operational all those years. So I'll be happy to answer any questions from the council.
Danny
Yes,
Olson?
First of all, the Mallory Pole Barn business, I know these guys. I've met them over the years on various job sites and that, and they do an excellent job. So in fact, I believe my brother even had them do a building for him. How soon are we looking to break ground on this?
Well, the DPW crew will be tearing down the old salt barn, which we hope to accomplish in the later half of March. With the construction schedule and the commitments of the builder, that we would look at turning dirt the last half of April.
Okay.
But just a sequence of events that have to occur. The old building comes down, then ground stabilization. We know we need to bring in some dirt to appropriately prep for the placement of that building. And that should all be completed before April 15th. Mr. Mallory believes that he can start the actual construction on the new building in that from the 15th to 30th of April, that would be a good estimation of when it would start.
Okay. Because I've seen snow into late April before, so obviously my concern is getting the salt out of there and getting the building out of there. So
Yeah.
Hopefully we won't run into a late winter.
Yeah, we can in the winter take the building down, and Randy set in motion contingency plans for salt and how we would do that. Now, snow in late April excited 3 of us plow drivers on the call, but I'm not sure if that excited anyone else. So.
Well, I'm thinking Alex driving the big end loader, knocking the building down would be a thrill for him, but I see a smile, Alex.
Julie, I think you had something also.
I just had a question. I didn't know how, I was asking how they will site this building. Will it be along the north fence so that when you open up your doors, the sun can cook all that ice and stuff?
The building will
Or is
run.
it going right where it was?
No, it would kind of be opposite. The 100-foot length of the building would run east and west, with the 60 feet running north and south. and the non-doors being to the south side of that building.
That's exactly what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
It would passively do a lot of things for you guys. Good.
Yeah, it'll be 18 foot high, so a little bit higher, and two bay doors. It'd have a bathroom inside. Be
Good.
heated, a lot of tool storage and that, which frees up where the lifts are. So it'll also, we are in a certain area which was on making sure that the floor, which overall floor is 6-inch concrete with rebars and that, but they're for the potential to growth and bring in a lift that could be heavy enough to lift all of our equipment up off the ground with the skill set of our crews that does a lot of our internal maintenance. Though the lift is not included in the price, we are going to construct the floor that could be added in subsequent fiscal years when we have the money saved to purchase that.
I just had another question. I don't recall what the floor was in that salt building now. Is it just dirt or is it concrete?
No, there's some concrete under there,
Okay.
correct, Randy? I don't know if the whole thing's concrete. Yeah.
Yeah, there's concrete under it, but it's very shabby.
Well, then you could use it when you have like maintenance issues or you need to set something off site. That would still be existent.
No, the pole
Or does it
barn
get
and
covered up?
no, the pole barn and the old salt barn and concrete will all be disposed of off-site.
Does
Well,
the concrete have to go?
Yeah,
Does
it's
the
best to
concrete?
construct because that area is going to be needed for the new construction.
Oh, okay.
We are going to there's a metal roof on that salt building that metal will be pulled aside and that will be scrapped for revenue source.
That's good.
Yeah, 70 years of concrete and salt, it's got to have played a serious toll.
Yeah, it can't be very good.
Certainly recommend getting rid of it. Is there any other council members that'd like to ask a question?
Yeah, the last thing I'll conclude with, so the council's aware, the actual storage of the salt will be outside of the 60 by 100 building. So it'll be kind of a lean-to configuration that has an overhang of an additional 20 feet that will store the salt. So that's another thing. We won't store salt inside this building. So that we're looking at, if you can imagine the highway cement barriers you'll see during construction, those will form kind of a pen where the salt will be poured with an appropriate covering so it's protected, but it'll also help when the large front end loader scoops it up and loads the trucks, and should not impact that building, minimized to the best we can do.
Great.
I know Denny and Ryan had spent a lot of times prior to being on the council at the meetings. So you knew we had planned years ago to start saving for this. So this isn't coming to a surprise of any of us. Actually, the surprise to me is we've been able to do it in the time frame we're pulling it off. So,
Yeah.
Good job there. So if there's no further discussion or questions about this, I'd entertain a motion to approve the expenditure to Mallory Pole Buildings.
Great.
Well, I can't make the motions.
I know.
I think it's up to Rick.
It's Rick. Yeah.
Actually, it's up to Denny, but I'll do it.
I think it was Denny.
No, it's
Denny.
Originally it was.
It's what you-
It is in the revise. All right, I make a motion to approve the village manager to enter into a construction contract with Mallory Builders for the new 6,000 square foot building for the DPW.
not to exceed.
Oh, not to exceed. Was it
355,000.
50,000? Thank you.
Mhm. Gail Reister, support.
So the motion will read to support and approve the village manager entering into a contract with Larry Mallory Pole Buildings for the project not to exceed the amount of $355,000. Motion by Ms. Trustee Holmes, supported by Trustee Reister. Hearing no other comments. Find my favorite pen.
I'd like to just add one real quick, John. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
They haven't voted yet, Randy.
Yeah, you blew it.
All right,
Okay.
I'll wait.
I don't know. He's getting his new
So-
pole
so-
barn before we get our new
so-
village hall.
So much for my favorite pen. All right. With the good faith Randy Skippers just showed, roll call vote. Trustee Olson,
Yes.
Trustee Reister,
Yes.
Trustee Merrill,
I don't think she heard you.
Trust-
Oh,
Trustee
okay.
Merrill is a yes. Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
Trustee Holmes,
Yes.
President Pro Temp Keller,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes. So
Go ahead, Randy.
one comment, one question that it really isn't related to yes or no, but do we see any kind of conflict with the construction going on when we're starting a big dig with, I know we're starting at opposite ends of the town, but is that going to affect Randy's crew at all with machinery and?
It should not. Randy has laid in contingency plans with some of the contractors. We know if we have to store equipment to have access for our own situations that come up, whether that be water, sewer, or that. So there'll just be contingency plans and utilization of those resources and connections that Randy and the crew have. But as far as the construction, no, it won't impact it timing wise.
Very good. Congratulations, Randy.
Thank you, Jim.
You're on your way.
Congratulations.
Did we vote?
Yes.
Yes.
We did. Okay. I've totally lost track.
All right.
We have in front of us a lift station maintenance agreement.
Correct. What that is, and Randy can give you the specifics, how many lift stations and all the generators that they have. But 3 years ago or 4 years ago, we started doing yearly maintenance to the generators. This is a 3-year agreement. The total for the 3 years is $10,870.89. That equates to an amount yearly of $3,623.63. That yearly amount is at a level the village manager could approve. However, by going to a 3-year agreement, the price was lowered to what you see in front of you. So be it that the total is $10,870, we felt it would be best to come in front of the council, ask for approval and support to enter into this 3-year agreement with Cummings motors and lifts. So be happy to answer any questions, or if you want the specifics on how many lift stations and generators, we have Randy on the call.
12. And they have always been very good to us over the years. And if we ever have a problem, they're here at the drop of a hat. And you're not going to get that from anybody else in any emergency.
Sounds
Yeah.
good.
It's
Well, in business, this is something that we always look to do as forward thinking. If you can get a better deal by locking into a 3-year contract, it benefits us. And it's just another, attribute to our forward looking in this community. So I think it's a great idea. By doing this, we're reducing our cost and locking in with one company. So I think it's a good idea. Sure.
Yeah, Tim, I agree. I want to echo that every one of these opportunities we take to lock in forward-thinking, progressive, preventative measures is going to be more that helps to prevent another sewer and water issue like we're currently going through, in the next 50 to 70 years. So all of this preventative maintenance is a great thing for us to get in.
Any other comments or questions for the staff? Hearing none, we'll take a motion to approve entering into the contract with Cummins of South Grand Rapids.
President Frisbee, trustee Keller here. I'd like to make a motion to authorize the village manager sign a 3-year maintenance agreement with Cummins Sales and Service to service the generators at all of our lift stations.
Do we have support?
Merrill here supporting.
So we have, excuse me, a motion by trustee Keller, supported by trustee Merrill. Roll call vote. Trustee Olson,
Yes.
trustee Reister,
Yes.
trustee Merrill,
Yes.
trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Holmes,
Yes.
President Pro Temp Keller,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes.
Okay.
So that motion carries.
And the last item, 10C, is I made a mistake, and I'll publicly apologize to our Director of Planning, Bobby Durkee, as I did not have his position listed in the January 18th presentation to the council, and that's my fault. But we are recommending that the compensation be a one-time merit check for $1,000 for the 2021 fiscal year. I do know Mr. Frisbee's involvement in the Planning Commission, as well as the past few months as village president. I mean, Bobby Durkee does an incredible amount of work for this team behind the scenes, after hours. We're very, very fortunate that our municipality to the north has graciously allowed Bobby to pass his talents to us. And in the last 3 weeks alone, there's been 5 separate zoning type issues. And frankly, without Bobby, we'll be probably contracting an attorney, because on some of these issues, I just do not have the background or experience to really be making that call.
Jim, I can't let you take the onus all by yourself for Bobby. I praised him every chance I could get, and the overlook was on every one of us. Carl Keller's been active with the Planning Commission as myself. When Bobby came in there, he made a tremendous impact on that group. We all have our ideas and what our desires, but we're not professionals in that industry. So we always would rely on another commission member to go and look up the statutes and come back and report to us. And sometimes it was right and sometimes it wasn't. So to have a professional on our staff has been a tremendous asset. And Bobby, my apologies.
And I would like to say too, having obviously been on the commission with President Frisbee before this and was chairman, the thing with Bobby was he breaks things down when you're on the Planning Commission that you understand when it comes to side yard setbacks or rear yard setbacks or sign ordinances or whatever. He will give you an example that you can relate, and then okay, now I understand. Because otherwise, if you just read the ordinances, you'll fall asleep. I mean, and with Alan Edwin, we had meetings with them in years past, and he was a definite asset to, on behalf of the village, to be there to make sure that we were being looked after, and the interest of the village was always forefront. So I do apologize for the oversight. I should have caught it too.
So with that, we entertain a motion for the approval of the one-time merit pay for Mr. Durkee.
Yeah, Trustee Wagner, I make a motion to authorize the 2020-2021 compensation for Mr. Bobby Durkee to be a $1,000 merit paycheck, and his hourly rate would remain the same.
Trustee Olson, I second that.
I have a motion by trustee Wagner, supported by trustee Olson. Here, no other comments. Roll call vote. Trustee Olson,
Yes.
trustee Reister,
Yes.
trustee Merrill,
Oh, she's me.
He's mute.
She's,
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
trustee Merrill is yes. Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Holmes,
Yes.
President Pro Temp Keller,
Yes.
President Frisbee.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. That ends the council action items. I do have two updates myself, and then I'm going to ask Mr. Lee to update us on a couple more improvements to our website that goes to our financial transparency. First off, last week, we experienced problems with our networking system, including our hardware. We have two main servers that function the village. One of the servers making a noise that none of us have heard before. But the credit goes to Denise Harrell, because I kept walking back and wondering what it was, but she proactively dug into it, contacted IT right herself, felt it was a problem, including some backup type issues. And they remoted in. It's a 2014 server. They gave different options, one being replace hard drives in an old server that they predicted wouldn't last long, or for less than $5,000, a brand new 2021 server that will function the village to the future. Under two avenues, one, it being under the $5,000 mark, but also I felt it was an emergency with what we risked if the server went down. I authorized that work to be completed, which will be a 2-day project starting tomorrow. So if I've been told there won't be interruptions that we would notice, but I just wanted the council to be aware that server is being replaced. It's in the $4,700 range, but we needed to make that call last week due to the technical word, it crashing. And be happy to answer questions on that. And if none, we will take time here at the start. We won't have much updates, but on the infrastructure project, we should see relatively soon the downtown trees being removed, prepping that and you'll certainly see 3 digital signs, the big billboard mobile digital signs redirecting traffic, showing up in a lot of cones, prepping it. So we'll draw questions. Alex is on top of stuff with Zach over at Prime Newhoff, and we'll utilize our social media and system there. It will start again up on Spruce Street. We do not anticipate it being downtown until after mid-June. And we do, so everyone is aware, there is a pause in the construction from June 1st through after the car show, with the hopes of the direction and hopefully being able to have get-togethers again. We wanted to keep the car show on the schedule and move forward. So once we get into it, there'll be more detailed updates, certainly weekly, with our business community and social media, and at each council meeting.
Do we have a date on the car show?
I don't have it in front of me. I think
it would be, it's a second weekend in June normally, but it hasn't been set yet, but that's what it's normally been. I think it would.
Is the library gonna do a book sale, Gail?
We will if it's going to be open. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it should be the 11th and 12th, June 11th and 12th.
I believe that I was just looking up. I have had communications with Skip Knowles, and I'll be able to confirm it. Yeah, June 11th and 12th are the dates.
Okay.
With that, I will pass it to Alex Lee for a real brief update on some improvements he made to the website last week. Alex.
I thank you, Jim. One of the things that we will be adding to our website, Jim used some financial tools provided by the state in his last presentation of the audit. Those tools are very easy to use. I'll be meeting with Dominic Gladstone tomorrow or the following day, figuring out how to connect those in the transparency section of our webpage. Another interesting thing you will find is that we have added links to our videos on our YouTube channel via the Documents on Demand section of our website. So rather than go to YouTube and trying to go through the live, the recorded meetings and figure out where you are, there's now a file in the section that holds our minutes and agendas. It is the Village Council video meetings. You'll be able to open that up, and all the meetings are listed chronologically. Same for the Planning Commission, same for the Parks and Recs meeting, that we've had one that has been recorded. Now, this idea was discussed with Documents on Demand about a year ago, and they really liked the idea and developed the additional service at absolutely no cost to us, because they believe that it makes them more attractive to other municipalities. And several additional communities around the country are already joining us in Vicksburg's idea in doing this. So it makes us more transparent and much more user-friendly, I believe. Last note, Mr. Olson, Mr. Wagner, it's time to get your photographs in front of the flag in our live meeting place. Please look for an email from me tomorrow. We'll coordinate that, and then we'll get all the offices and council up to date. Now that you've shown up for more than 2 meetings in a row, we believe it's time to put you on the webpage. Thank you.
We got to shave.
And Denny, you probably need to shave.
I'll
Yeah.
shave. I'll shave.
Hey, Alex, and maybe you or Jim can answer this. Just quick question. Are there any plans in the near future to allow residents to be able to pay their utility bills via the website, that they can go into a section and they can, kind of like Consumers Energy does?
Alex and I are both strong men who know our weaknesses, so I'll turn to Michelle Morgan.
Sorry, Michelle.
For this answer. No, she is pushing for this to occur, but I'll let her go ahead and inform the council of her goals and aspirations here.
So currently we offer online payments through our website. They're not automatic payments, but anybody can make a credit card payment or an electronic check payment for taxes or utilities via our website. So there's already a link right under the utility section. So if you go to the main page, it's just underneath the top, it's over to the left, and they can go through that prompt, and they can do that currently.
Is that fairly new, or has that been there for a while?
It's been there for quite a while.
Oh, it has.
There's a percentage charge to that, right?
There is. The bank charges a 3% fee.
Right.
In order to use that service. We don't charge it, the bank does it.
No, yeah, but I think people should know that. But
yes.
I asked only because I was surfing around the site probably 4 months ago, and I tried, it looked like I could get in to pay utility bill or view utility bill or whatever, and I got swung off into another deal, and I went, okay.
La La Land.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I thought I would check. So I know consumers back in the day used to be very cumbersome, and now it's very easy to pay your utility bill through them. So.
Okay. Right. And you're right. It is a separate, it does take you out. It is through BSNA. It is through another bank. The bank runs the charge. And then you know, we upload that information right into our system.
Okay, good to know.
And Mr. Keller, if I could add, kind of to your question, Documents on Demand has developed a really nice bells and whistles program to promote your parks, your spaces that are available for rent. Can download or upload pictures and videos. It'll have a real-time calendar, so people don't have to call Village Hall to see if a space is available. All of that will be available. That comes with an asterisk, however, and there will be an additional cost. So Denise, Harold, and I will be getting a presentation from Docs on Demand to make sure that you know, the relief of staff time would be worth those dollars. But that will be a really nice feature if we choose to utilize that as well.
Good questions. Thank you. Any other
That,
open
that's our, from staff, I believe that's it. I don't see anyone raising their hands, Scott, or anything.
One
Oh,
quick comment.
sure.
So in regards to the server upgrade, I just want to make sure that all of that equipment is going to be portable, transferable into the new building we plan to construct in the next 3 to 4 years.
I hope so. I mean, I know it is as we sit now. I mean, the way technology goes from year to year. But the one that we put, our last server was 2019. I know I asked then, and that one was, so.
Yeah, I mean, very likely that it is. I was just curious.
Yeah. I did not, so you know, Ryan, I did not specifically ask on this one. I'm gonna be like Randy Skippers and bank that IT right will come through for me on it.
Well, that's what we pay the experts for, right?
There you go.
All right, Jim, thank you for the update. I think I'll go a little bit out of procedural steps in this, and I just want to say something. I'll just use this for my time. That I've been talking, we've got a group of individuals on the council right now that are very, very forward. I don't like the word progressive, so I'll use forward thinking. You know, and it's crossed my mind on several occasions. You know, how do we envision the village going forward? What do we perceive ourselves? What do we want other communities to think of us? How do we want to brand ourselves, so to speak? I mean, I'm talking with Rick Holmes and Ryan Wagner and Gail and, you know, all of you in the team at different times. We all have these different concepts of who we want to be. You know, I've on the planning commission, you know, we were kind of hamstrung in some areas. You know, how do we set guidance for some of the loans we're giving, the facade loans? We don't have a policy on what the expectation of the facade looking like. You know, what do we want our downtown to look like? There's just a lot of things out there that we need to address. You know, we got businesses coming into our town. They look at us, they see our finances, and they say, these guys really have their, you know, and their ducks in a row. So we want to invest in that town. So we need to look forward. We need to invest in our town. We need to look 5-10 years down the road. Who do we want to be? And we've thrown around different ideas. How do we get there? Some of the ideas is these offsite study sessions we've done. You know, we did one last year. Tremendous opportunity for us, but it was, you know, with the current COVID right now going on, it's a little difficult for us all to get together, but we all anticipate that to lighten up soon. So, you know, I'm throwing this out there. I want to put together, you know, we've talked about, do we do this as an individual non-quorum committee? Do we do it during our work sessions? And I think it might be beneficial for us to put together a small control group of 3 council members and a staff member. No doubt I want, and I'm asking right now of Alex Lee, you know, and I'm asking Jim to avail Alex. You know, he knows this area, he can help guide us in it. And y'all think about it, you know, I'll come to you individually and see who wants to be part of it. And if you have any objections to where I'm thinking or where I'm going with this, you know, certainly speak up. But I think it's in our benefit. And if the mill does come on as strong as it is, there's certain things that are going to affect the community that we need to be proactively thinking ahead, right? So traffic and all this, and that'll, the traffic aspect of it will all be discussed with the promoters and all. And Jim and I and others on the council have met with the mill promoters, and we know the expectations and what they'll do for us. But there's so many nuances that we haven't thought about that I think we need to brainstorm and do it. So I'm throwing it out. You know, I'd like some ideas from you all. If you think it's something we can do during a quorum session like we're doing tonight, if we need to put together just a non-quorum committee with a staff member. And if you all would think about it and just shoot me an email what your thoughts are, I'd appreciate it. I know a couple of you, and I'll call up Mr. Holmes and Ryan Wagner. You know, you're very, very active in this area. I appreciate it. I think we need to do it. So I'd like to see you both take an active part in that. So just, if you would, send me your thoughts and your comments on what I just proposed and there. So from that, I'll just go through the line and let Ms. Merrill speak if you care.
I'm good. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Ms. Reister?
I would just like to thank Randy again and his crew because they are doing such a fine job when it comes to keeping the roads clear and so forth. And I noticed, I'm not sure who did my little South Street. They did a beautiful job. They did kind of block me in, but they cleared that road really well. And so I'm very appreciative of it because not every community gets that kind of service. So thank you, Randy, and your crew.
Thank you, Gal.
Mr. Olson?
Real quick, I want to do an update on the fire authority. We presented the budget to them. They did not approve it. It has been tabled. Prairie Round and Schoolcraft Township has not yet voted on it. Schoolcraft Township's got Tracy Losey coming in to give a presentation at their next meeting because they have 2 new board members who do not know much about the fire authority. So they need to be updated on that. So both of them should hopefully be voting on that pretty quick. Other than that, Randy, you and your guys, great guys. Scott, Tracy McMillan's on vacation this week, a well-deserved vacation. He's up north snowmobiling. So other than that, thank you all very much.
Mr. Keller, I know, and we haven't done this, and we get to the point where we'll committee actions, you know, so once we get in the groove of this, and I basically me laying out the timeline for when you all are meeting. I believe, Carl, you had a meeting. Did you have a Zoom meeting with the Water Authority? So,
Yep, you're stealing my thunder a little bit. That's okay. First of all, Randy, your guys, excellent job. And just so the residents know, the council members don't get any special treatment when it comes to plowing. They don't lift their blades when they go by, just so everybody understands. That's okay. Yes, I attended the South County Sewer and Water Authority last week. The biggest news coming out of that was probably that Schoolcraft received a letter from MDOT because MDOT is going to be starting their 131 corridor project next year, and basically informed the village that if you are even interested in trying to run a sewer line up that corridor, you better get your act together. And they need to know by May whether the village over there is going to, they don't necessarily have to have it hooked up. It's just as they're tearing the highway up, because they're going to go from U Avenue all the way down to Marcellus Road, putting in new interchanges and resurfacing the road and all that. So they're assuming while they have it all tore up, be the time to look to put a sanitary sewer line in up to Portage. Whether that happens or not, I don't know. I'm thankful we live in the village over here. Nothing against Schoolcraft, but that seems to be a topic that just cannot resolve itself over there. So other than that, that was the biggest news to come out of that meeting. So
Thank you, Carl. Mr. Holmes?
Thank you, President Frisbee. And Tim, I really appreciate the time you took tonight to talk about, the opportunity that the council has to share with my fellow trustees, Mr. Frisbee and Mr. Mallory, and I, as well as some of you and I have had conversations, over the last 6-9 months, just regarding, where we see the village going. Much of what we do, I frequently say what we do is dry as toast. And Mr. Keller constantly reminds me, correctly so, that that's part of government. We find ourselves in a unique situation though, and that is that we have an opportunity to lead the community as it relates to a real positive initiative, and that is that council has an opportunity to be proactively address issues facing the village as a result of the increasing and much anticipated economic redevelopment activity in our community. In addressing these current and future issues, there's also the opportunity to help shape the brand that will define what visitors will come to expect when visiting our community, and ideally what they will tell others when they leave. If you remember last fall, I believe all of us had an opportunity to tour the mill, and one of the things I remember is being told we should expect in the near future around 200,000 people traveling to our community as a result of this economic redevelopment that's going on. That, when I heard that, is what kind of stirred additional thoughts in conjunction with the $10 million we're investing in our community today. And many people look at the mill as kind of the bellwether for this whole idea of what's coming. And we all drive by it and we all look right or left to see where they're at. But realistically, that infrastructure is going to be the first redevelopment project that our community is probably going to see. Not the last, but the first, because it will transform Prairie and Maine. And so when I look at that, I think there's so much more that's available for us to look at. President Frisbee mentioned facade grant, facade ordinances. Maybe it's a blight issue. Maybe it's festivals, Airbnbs, Ubers. And there's so much here that we can start looking at. And the reason is not to get ahead of ourselves in doing so, but to understand, I think, that as we look at these and we kind of map out our blueprint for what we can be, I think ultimately we're going to develop what our brand's going to be. And I would ask all of us to stop for a minute and think of what we visualize when you hear these words: Cereal City, Tulip City, Motor City. All three of these Michigan cities, these names are synonymous for Holland, Battle Creek, as well as Detroit. The interesting thing is, folks, when I researched them, they didn't happen by accident. It wasn't just because of the Dutch heritage that Holland became known as Tulip City. It was a concerted effort by the municipality, as well as the business community, to create that brand, that image, that vibe, that energy that not only do people expect when they go to Holland, but also what the commercial sectors can plug into when they start new businesses. They know that that's kind of the foundation. That is the brand that is Holland. Same with the other cities I mentioned. And so that's what excites me, because lastly, I'll just wrap it up by saying this. Think about this. How many municipalities, especially those our size, wish they had the ability and the opportunity to do what we have, which is to brand our community for the next 5, 10, 50, 100 years, whatever it is. That's what excites me about the opportunity that's available for us to work collectively on this with Mr. Mallory's staff, our committees, Planning Commission, Parks and Rec. It really can be an all-in opportunity for all of us to embrace what we want our community to be in the future. And so I think, as you can tell by my remarks, I'm all in, and I appreciate the opportunity to work with all of you on this. So thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Mr. Wagner?
Thank you, President Frisbee. I want to call back to saying the DPW doesn't, treat us any differently. In fact, Chad Skippers on Sunday gave me a nice wave, and I firmly believe that as I was shoveling my driveway, he would have done the same thing to any of our 3,500 residents. They've been doing a
Plowing your
great job.
driveway?
No, I was shoveling. He was plowing,
He's
across the road.
No, yeah, no, blocking it in. They don't, like
Yeah.
someone said, they don't lift the blade when they go by our house.
No,
Yep.
no, they don't. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
I did have to do some extra shoveling, but I appreciated him being out there doing it. But on the finance committee, we're looking to get engaged here soon to get into the 2020, 2021, or the 21-22, excuse me, budget prep season. So I'm looking forward to getting started on that. Let's see, I had a few other notes here. So really excited actually for Rick and Tim and all that opportunity. I'm all in, I'm enthusiastic to get started on that opportunity. I think it is absolutely the most forward thinking we could be. Put a little project management talk into it to be intentional about our identity for the village. And there's so many opportunities that we can really get into. All we have to do is open up our eyes and our ears to the community and see what they want, what we really represent, and how we can bring that into being. Jim, do you have a comment?
My only thing is I know in talking with Mr. Holmes and with the financial committee being brought up, that I know the council's fully aware that we do not, those committees and any future type of committee, even led by Alex Lee, they're not a decision-making body. It's a vetting to gather ideas, get it concise into plausible options that might lead to action items, but only the action items always come in front of the full council for full discussion and full vote. I think it's just important. I know we've had that conversation in the past, but when we get talking in a public meeting like this, just to remind our citizens and YouTube viewers of the future that those type of committees aren't not decision-making committees. So thank
They're
you.
also non-quorum, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the clarification, Jim. Yeah, they're advisory committees. They're not decision-making. Oh, go ahead.
I think in any direction we go, whether it be a committee or full-on quorum from the council, it needs to go through the planning group too. I mean, if we come up with ideas and thoughts, and that needs to get put through to the planning commission, get their buy-in, get their ideas and their direction before it even comes to our level. So it's going to be a long task. This isn't something that's going to happen in the middle of summer. So it's something I want to put a lot of strategic thought in, engage as many people as we can, the community, the residents, the business owners, certainly, and see where we go from there.
It's called the making of the sausage.
Yeah, exactly.
And a little somewhat comically, I want to suggest that we brand into Discburg and really leverage into the whole disc golf scene with our recreation
Oh,
area.
boy.
Don't do stand up as your night job.
Well, I think since we have President Frisbee and it's Frisbee Golf, you should be the honorary player there. I mean,
Yeah.
But realistically, speaking to the disc golf, I did want to make everyone aware, if they weren't already, that it is a very large community. I've been fortunate enough to play the sport myself for quite some time. I've enjoyed a lot of time at that park. It is a fantastic facility. It really is. And there are a lot of professional organizations that, especially around Southwest Michigan, are willing to use our facility for those opportunities to bring their players down to have a new experience. Certainly something that we can leverage even outside of Mr. LeBond and the K Aces. So it can only get bigger from there. So I'm excited to see if we can grow that as well. And Mr. Lee, thank you for the update on the website to include that real-time calendar. I think that ties perfectly into that, where we can get those events out there to the public in real time. And that's really going to help drive that awareness as well. Other than that, I think I've taken probably the most time I've done on my trustees' time in a while. I will finish with thank you to the DPW crew again. Doing a great job out there. And I know my little section of road is under repair and they're not giving me any special treatment there, but they're doing a good job and I really do appreciate it.
I will have one more thing to say before we wrap it up. I was asking of the, of our county clerk, was it Tim Snow at the time? A few questions here over the summertime, and ended up discussing with Sarah Joshi. She's the deputy or the assistant. And she came back out to me randomly and said, hey, by the way, you all have a really nice website. Good job. I
Oh,
wasn't asking for clarification. She just went and looked at it to help me do some research and made that comment. So we're getting other communities that, you know, appreciate what we're doing there and what Alex and the team is doing. So with that all being said, I appreciate everybody being on tonight. Thank you. Good job tonight. And we'll call this meeting adjourned.
All right,
Cheers.
and Jeff, Alex, and I will stay on the call for you.
Thank
so
you, John.
long.
Have a great night, everybody.
Be safe.
All right.
Everyone.